Let's get wild and make this disappearing 4 patch together. You're going to start by making 8 blocks the same size. Yes, I know that 8 is not 4, but you're just going to have to trust me here. Go ahead and pick out an assortment of colors. This project is gangbusters easy with a layer cake, but here I've got 4.5 squares. All right, go ahead and arrange your squares together. You could do it in color blocks like the blues together and the purples together, or you can switch them up. The quilting police don't have any authority to arrest you, so go ahead and take some wild chances here. Once you've decided on the perfect arrangement, you're going to want to piece these together so that you have 2 blocks that are 2 wide by 2 tall. That's a 4 patch, guys. This next part's real scary. You can see up in the top corner where I have already cut one of the blocks. What I'm doing is I am measuring from the center seam and I am cutting this block up like the poor little guy in the top corner there. Depending on the size of the blocks you started with, you can have some creative flexibility here. I'm measuring from that center seam allowance and I'm coming over 1.5 inches and I'm cutting up each side. I'm going to keep rotating the block until I end up with these 9 separate pieces. Again, feel free to make changes to this. You'll find different quilting patterns that'll have different guidelines on this. Just remember that when you make these cuts, you may be creating blocks that are different sizes from each other, and that is going to be really important when we start switching out these blocks later on. All right, now that I've got everything cut and laid out, I'm going to start by switching out the centers. Here you can see an example on the outside middle blocks are not the same size. They have a slightly different height and a slightly different width from each other. So you want to be careful when you're swapping blocks and turning them. Basically, regardless in the amount of finger taps I do, I go ahead and swap out blocks about 15 different ways. I decided to cut all the camera shots because let's be honest, it was pretty boring. All right, here's the final plan I came up with, and I can't believe somebody sewed crooked. I'm going to have to trim up these blocks. Here they are, looking nice and trimmed and neat and feeling quite fine. Now you can see how fun it is to pair these together and check out how these purples would create a nice look if you put these blocks together that way. Again, there's no absolute right answer with this, and the quilting police can only hurt your feelings if you let them. Let's see how this block compared to the 9 patch we made in the previous tutorial. Look how much smaller this block is compared to the 9 patch. And remember, the 9 patch started with the same size blocks, so that's how much those seams took out. Thanks for joining me on this wild ride, and feel free to follow me or jump on my YouTube.